Hello, my miraculous friend. This is Reverend Frances Faden, and welcome to episode 2 of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things, books. And before we get into this week's book, let's just take a few moments to get ourselves grounded and centered. Take a few deep breaths. If you're driving, please keep your eyes open, but you can still take a few deep breaths. Get yourself grounded, get yourself centered. And just bring all of your awareness into this present moment. And as you're allowing yourself to really prepare to receive this wonderful resource I'm going to share with you today, let yourself be in that receptive state of gratitude, knowing that whatever will be shared today is going to be the perfect thing for you, exactly what you need to hear. And knowing that that is exactly what will be happening, let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. Yay! I love books, my friend. I love books. I hope you love books too, because I believe that books are miraculous. I think it's amazing that somebody in a different time, in a different age, who is no longer on the planet, they took the time and the energy to write something down or type something out or whatever it might be. And we have access to that wisdom and that power and that knowledge today. It's like a magical time machine. I think it's amazing. One of my favorite examples is my own patron saint, Saint Hildegard of Bingen, who she was around in the turn of the last millennium, around 1000 to 1100, somewhere around there. And she was a Renaissance woman way before the Renaissance. But what did she do? She was a visionary. She was the head of the abbey in Bingen, Hildegard von Bingen. And she got these visions and she heard music, but she took the time to write them down. She wrote books. She wrote beautiful pieces of music. And we can listen to that music today because she wrote it down. And we can read her books today because she wrote it down. And we can know what she learned about plants and rocks and crystals and the earth and the Holy Spirit and everything because she wrote it down. And so Mother Mary is always guiding me to guide all of us to take the time to put form to our inspirations. When we put form to spirit, that's when you become a creator. So today I'm going to share with you an amazing book, and a book that I think can really change your life. It has changed my life. It continues to change my life just by the fact that it's been almost 100 years since its first publication. And it's miraculous that this author is still touching lives and still blessing lives. Now, I have it on my Kindle. I'm going to hold it up so the people that are watching can see. It's by a woman named Genevieve Behrend, and this particular book is called Your Invisible Power. And I got this one in a collection. It's called the Thomas Troward and Genevieve Behrend collection, which I think you can get on Amazon. It's like 6 different books. I don't know, $4, something like that, some crazy amount. You can also just get the book by itself, the book, Your Invisible Power. And I'm going to go to it right now, Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend. And it's all about visualization and how to visualize. Now, what's so amazing, it's a very short book, but what's so amazing about this is she goes into such detail about how to do it. So if you've ever been like, how do I do this? How do I visualize? This is going to break it down for you in not only seeing, but also feeling. And this is the important thing that a lot of people don't get when they're talking about visualization. It's not so much what you're seeing in your mind as what you're actually feeling, because you can see a picture in your mind, but if it doesn't evoke any kind of emotion for you, it's not going to be as helpful. So if right now, let's just imagine in your mind that you can see the beautiful car that you would love to get. Maybe you'd like to get an electric car. Maybe you want to get a Tesla, one of those really fancy Teslas. And in your mind, if you imagine that you see this beautiful midnight blue Tesla. If that's not the thing you actually are wanting, it's not going to really evoke any energy for you. It's not going to be as effective. So if you're imagining a Tesla, but what you really want is a Porsche, if that's the car that you want, or a BMW or an Alfa Romeo or whatever else it is, and you're not letting yourself do that, it's not going to be as effective for you. So she breaks it down. Now, what is amazing about this book is she is the only known student of a man named Thomas Troward. Thomas Troward is an amazing metaphysical author, again, from about 100 to 130 years ago. And his books, you have to read them and then read them again and then read them again. They're amazing about how the law works, how to work in harmony with the law. Amazing, the universal laws. And so it kind of is that quantum physics thing, but it wasn't called quantum physics then. So she really wanted to work with him, and he kept saying, no, I don't take students. I don't have time for students. I'm focusing on books. And she had her mind and her heart set on being his student. So she started reading his book when she was, she says she was doing okay. I think her husband had passed away and she had enough money to get by, but she really wanted to know how she could expand her life. And so she started studying what she called mental science at the time. And she, chapter 8, Why I Took Up the Study of Mental Science. And then get this book again, published 1921, How I Attracted to Myself $20,000. $20,000. And I think it was actually before 1921 that she did this. So she's doing this in the 1910, 1912, 1950s, somewhere around that time period of how to do that. So just think to yourself, would you like to be able to attract $20,000 into your life now? She did it in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, people, 6 weeks. I would like to attract $20,000 into my life in 6 weeks. Now, if we think about it, $20,000 in 1912 was a lot more money. I don't know exactly what the amount would be, but let's say that that's like $200,000 now, something like that. In a time period where A, she's a woman, and B, she didn't have a job, she didn't have a business, she didn't have anything, but she takes you through the process. What she had was a really strong motivating factor. She totally wanted to go to England and she wanted to meet him, and she was convinced that if she met him, he would take her on as a student. And she did the math and she thought, in order for me to live, to get to England and to live there for, I think, a year, she said, I'm going to need $20,000. So she takes you through the process of how she did it, how she visualized that, and how she kept seeing herself working with him. She kept putting herself in her mind's eye in that place. And I'll let you read the rest of the story of how she became the only pupil of his, because he kept saying no and no and no. And one of my favorite chapters is chapter 10, How I Became the Only Personal Pupil of Thomas Troward, the great mental scientist. And the rest of the book is just amazing. So like I said, this book that I have the collection, but you can just get this book, Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend. Again, miraculous from 100 years ago, still relevant today, still going to be inspiring for you, still going to help you to bring into your life whatever it is that you want, whether it's money or health or relationship, or you want to expand your career. She gives so many examples of how you can increase your faith, things that you can do. One of my favorite things is she memorized Thomas Troward's statement. She memorized his statement. Let me see if I can find it for you here, about how he manifested things from the inside. And it's an awesome statement about the power of the mind and how the mind is always the point of creation. It's always the point. So here's an example. Things to remember in using your thought power for the production of new creations. Be sure to know exactly what conditions you wish to produce. Then weigh carefully what further results the accomplishment of your desire will lead to. By letting your thought dwell upon a mental picture, you are concentrating the creative action of spirit in the center where its forces are equally balanced. Visualizing brings your objective mind into a state of equilibrium, which enables you to consciously direct the flow of spirit to a definitely recognized purpose and to carefully guard your thoughts from including a flow in the opposite direction. You must always bear in mind that you are dealing with a wonderful potential energy which is not yet differentiated into any particular form, means you haven't directed it to become anything. And that by the action of your mind, you can differentiate it into any specific form that you will. Your picture assists you to keep your mind fixed on the fact that the inflow of this creative energy is taking place. I love that. So more and more and more from this. And I love this, how I attracted myself the $20,000. She says, daily, in fact, almost hourly, these words were in my mind. My mind is a center of divine operation, and divine operation means expansion into something better than has gone before. I'll read it again. My mind is a center of divine operation, and divine operation means expansion into something better than has gone before. And that's something from Thomas Troward's Edinburgh lectures. And I can tell you that Bob Proctor, who is a very well-known and very well-respected expert on the law of attraction, he was featured in The Secret. In one of his programs, he recommends that you take the statement that she recommends that you memorize, and you memorize it. So somebody today is recommending that you take this information and you use it today because it is amazing. So you can get this book on Amazon, Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend, for like 99 cents. You can get it as an ebook. You can get it as a paperback book. You might even be able to get it as a PDF if you look. But whatever you do, my friends, get this book. It will change your life, and it will help you to magnify your miracles. This is Reverend Frances Faden, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much. God bless each and every one of you. Bye-bye.